Wilberforce considered a concern for animals as part of his faith.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about that?
Oh yeah, there's no question that it was Wilberforce's faith that led him to care about all the things that he cared about. And it's so funny because half of the things he cared about today we would say are sort of conservative issues, and the other half of the things he cared about were what we would call liberal issues. And it shows that, the Bible, it's not a political document. And so certain groups of people will say, I care about that, and other people say, I care about that. Well, in a way, we should care about all these things. And I think many evangelicals today do have a broader view. They say, well, if I'm pro-life, it means I care about all life. It's not just I care about that issue. I care about the whole issue, and here's my thinking on the whole issue. And to me, animal activism is the same kind of thing. Today, many people just write it off as a sort of a left-wing obsession, but the reality is that the roots of it come from people of faith who said, we need to care about how we treat animals. We do. There's biblical reasons for that. There are scriptures that specifically say this. So why should we ignore those if we're pointing to others? And so I think it's something that, on the one hand, people of faith need to understand that if you have faith, it doesn't matter where you are politically, this is something you need to care about. There's a biblical mandate, and historically speaking, the whole idea of caring about animals comes from Wilberforce, who got it from his faith. And then I would say to people who don't have faith that you need to acknowledge historically that the reason we talk about it today started with Wilberforce, and the reason Wilberforce talked about it was because of his faith. And to understand that this is an issue, that's where it started historically. So it doesn't matter where people are on the faith spectrum. Sometime in the 1820s, so Wilberforce was in his later 60s, or mid to late 60s, and he was walking with his grandson. His grandson was small, maybe 5 or 6, I think, and he was holding him by the hand, and they were walking down the street. And they came upon a man with a cart horse, and the man was beating his horse viciously. Wilberforce, who loved animals, immediately spoke up to this carter and said to him, you've got to stop that. And the guy, who was this big, tough guy, basically told Wilberforce, mind your business, shut up, leave me alone, it's my horse. And another man, as the story goes, whispered to this carter, it's Wilberforce. And the man immediately stopped what he was doing and said, I'm so sorry. If you're Mr. Wilberforce, I shall never beat my horse again. He just was completely mortified because Wilberforce was so famous on a number of issues, and he was so respected. It would be like meeting Mother Teresa, Alexander Solzhenitsyn, Nelson Mandela. You would just shut up and say, I'm because you're awed by the holiness and the deep caring of this human being. What really excites me about it is this little boy who was holding the hand of Wilberforce when this happened told his son about it. And when his son was about 100 years old, he told someone that I know about this story. He's himself very old right now, and I had the privilege when I was writing my book of calling him on the phone in England and speaking to him. And so I just felt this amazing link that I'm talking to a man who spoke to the son of that little boy. So that story reminds me that there's a palpable link between Wilberforce's time and our own, and it should remind us that our concern for the welfare of animals, the whole animal welfare movement, began almost within living memory, and it's something that previous centuries knew nothing about, cared nothing about, and we should cherish this heritage and cherish Wilberforce's role and the role of people of faith in saying that this is something we must deal with.